Modelling tools allow an overlay of change to be applied to the entered plan in order to test the outcomes for certain situations. They are accessed by clicking on this dial icon or the phrase starting with the words Modelling Tools at the top right of the plan management area. When either the historical rates or the modulators are selected to overlay on the current plan, the results in the plan management area will reflect the change until the modulators or historical rates are later switched off. These words will remind the user when the original rates or the modelling tool rates are currently being used to calculate the plan outcomes. This section allows the user to apply an overlay of historical rates to their plan instead of the previously entered rates. The historical data option needs to be selected and then clicked. The historical data option is then selected on the next screen with the desired further parameters entered. The effects of this selection on the rates of return for each asset class are shown on the screen. Alternatively, there is a series of economic cycles which the user can select to apply to the plan. The user can edit the data if required and then reset the program's default. Each year the rates will be updated in March for the previous calendar year. The modulators allow the user to overlay a variance of low interest rates, income returns and capital growth. This allows the user to see the effect of these variations on their plan outcomes. When any of these three modulators is switched on, the default modulator values are used by the software for its model calculation. The user can then adjust the default modulator values to match their situation. Here's a tip: do not use the income modulators and the capital growth modulators together when the income is affected by the value of the asset. For example, with shares, the dividend is calculated as a percentage of the value of shares. Thus, if you increase the income and the capital growth, you will be having a double effect. Let us examine the income modulator. Where the economic cycle option is selected, you may choose from the drop-down list and then nominate the year in which the cycle commences. The options are variation from average rates and extreme reduction in income. Both consider a change in the 90-day bank bill. The first shows a variation in the change from the average for that time period. The second shows a variation in change from the average of the previous time period. Given the very low interest rates, the second option is not relevant. If the option Default Custom is selected, the program has a pre-filled option, but you can cancel these figures and display for your requirements. Note there is a special rule where the change in interest rate results in a negative percentage, then the rate will be left as 0. With the loan modulator, where the economic cycle option is selected, you may choose from the drop-down list and then nominate the year in which the cycle commences. The options are rising and falling interest rates, high interest rates and low interest rates. This rate is applied to all interest rates whether they are fixed or variable. The option Default Custom has been pre-filled, but you can cancel these figures and display for your requirements. Note there are two options and it is important to understand the implications. The reason for having the option to change all interest rates is to accommodate the situation where you believe that all interest rates will be higher or lower at some time in the future. So this rate will be applied to both the fixed and variable rates. With the variable interest rates, loans which have a fixed interest rate in that year will not change. The default entries show the variable interest rates rising from year 4 until they reach 2% in year 7. This value is added to the rate for all interest rates. Thus by year 14 the variable interest rates are rising by 4%. A rise in all interest rates does not commence until year 10. In which they rise to a maximum of 2% by year 14. The capital growth modulator can be different for both real estate and shares. Where the economic cycle option is selected, you may choose from the drop-down list and then nominate the year in which the cycle commences. Both show a bubble and bust cycle, together with rapidly rising prices or rapidly falling prices. If you only want to consider one asset class, then the other can be deactivated. On the default custom view, the program has selected a 3% fall in the capital value of all assets for 5 years. This is where you can get creative and try some what-if scenarios. Say, what if the share market falls 30% the year I plan to retire, followed by a further 10% the next year? How will this affect my income streams in retirement? The user can then produce a report showing the before and after effects on the plan, divided into 8 sections of the plan. These consider a change in asset values, income and loan payments. Here is a sample of the graphs displayed with the default options for capital growth and the loan modulator selected. First, the report will show which loan modulator and capital growth modulator has been activated. Let's review each of the 8 graphs. Note that the graph shows a before and after. In addition, the performance at the end of the year is also displayed. The graphs are net value of investments at end of year, value of retirement accounts at end of year, percentage of investment returns, loan payments and debt servicing ratio. On the plan outcomes using modelling tools, there are a number of options you can select for your report. The use economic cycles is always listed, and then either the use modulator data or historical data will be displayed only if one of the sections has been activated. In this view, the use modulation data has been selected. The default option report is the application of all 4 economic cycles on the one plan in the report.